another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P-Bush. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Got NBA playoffs in full throttle, second round, starting over the past weekend. Some nice game. We had a nice little game 7. Didn't turn out as it was a little more anticlimactic than one might think, but we had a virtuoso, to quote Andy Zoo over here, performance by Steph Curry, man, putting up a nice little 50-piece, pulling his Jimmy Butler, to take his team across and into the second round. And we got another Cali showdown, man. And shout out to my Bears for making some solid draft picks for the first time in my lifetime. So beautiful.
Yeah, man. These NBA games got me real tired every night, man. Trying to stay up watching these games on the East Coast, it's not good for the body, man. Especially if we got to go in the morning, go in the office, man. Those mornings are tough.
Yeah.
But my boys have delivered, man. The MVPs have shown that Nikola Jokic, man, getting it done for his team, man. Obviously, you mentioned the Chef Curry, man, with an all-time performance. It was a spiritual experience, as Katie would say, man. Watching that brother put up some of the most crazy shots ever, man. The Sacramento Kings, man. I hate to say it, man. They were a cute store, man.
Oh,
a cute store, man. Like, I bought it.
No, they deserve more than
man.
that. Don't do that.
They deserve more than cute stories,
man. I was eating that up. I was like, yo, I want this story to have a nice ending. But you know what happens, man? The freaking Warriors take care of business and get it done, man, like they're supposed to. Like, they were supposed to get it done. Yeah, man. It doesn't matter. They were the higher seed. They were favored for a reason. Even though when they were down 2-0, man, I'm like, man, this ain't even close to being over with home court advantage. Like, they just won the lost 2 road games, man, but they got that road victory, man. Got it done in Sacktown. It's Steph Curry, man.
No more beam.
Dude. But this is what Steph Curry looks like this beam. I'm like, oh, Chef. Woo, he's talking that shit while you got it done, man.
He doesn't do it that often.
Oh, Chef Curry, man, he's a little savage sometimes, man. He's a little savage.
Well, if you put up 50.
Yeah, true.
You get to talk your shit. You just get to do that.
Especially in Game 7.
So, like, he wanted to put up 50. He's like, man, I got some
needed to.
Team. I'm like, yo, I'm going to take over. We ain't losing this
team. He did. It was only him and Looney.
We ain't losing this team, man.
But, yeah, shout out to Steph Curry, man, for historical Game 7. Sacramento, man, they played for 3 quarters, but, the 4, or I would say
third quarter.
2.5 quarters.
That's where I got separated.
The kind of separations kind of started. So, shout out to them for a great season for their standards. I mean, they got into the playoffs. Now they got to kind of, put some more pieces around Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. So, we'll see how that story turns out. But we're going to get into the NFL draft. It was this past weekend. Started on Thursday night. And it was a lot of movement in the draft. There was a lot of people waiting in the green room. Shout out to Will Levis. I have my own theories on that. Definitely his girlfriend. Will Levis was there too. But I do think it was a little bit of a kind of a story manufactured by ESPN, because I know there was a lot of Mel Kiper hype, but I don't think, at least from a lot of stuff I was reading, Will Levis was ever really that guy that was going to be in the first round, or at least if he was, it's going to be late first round. So I feel like ESPN had to have somebody in the green room like to have his Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson moment. So, but he got picked up by Tennessee Titans. So I want to ask the guys.
First round, like first pick in the second round. So it's like
first pick, second
pretty
round.
much first rounder. One pick
yeah, pretty much.
Besides the pay.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely not the pay. And I think the option's different in the first, second round.
It is, you have
a little bit different. But I wanted to ask the guys what their thoughts are, on particular teams. I'm sure people is going to give his thoughts on the Chicago Bears, so I'll go ahead and start with him.
All right. Well, before the Bears, because I think that's the obvious one, you guys know I would go. I do want to shout out the Eagles, man, because this team just got better, and it's just unfair. They got Jalen Carter. I know, we got a couple buddies, fellow Bears fans out there, man, wanted Jalen Carter. I don't think that's a guy that you can put on a young, growing team with not a huge veteran presence, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Him going to Philadelphia is the perfect spot for Jalen Carter. I mean, if not the best defense last year, right? They have an unbelievable defensive line. Now you add a guy that needs a little bit of guidance. Obviously, he's an unbelievable talent. He could be a Canton-level guy, Hall of Fame potential player. And I think a lot of people were, high on that. And, it was just kind of his off-the-field issues. So, going to a solidified team is the best option for him. So Bears got another little cute 4th rounder out of it for next year. Who cares? Give me that draft capital. I'll take it. You can always flip that for a trade if you need it. But yeah, man. And then they got Nolan Smith. Just an absolute steal on the linebacking side after they lost TJ from their backfield actually to my Bears, man. So a lot of Bears Chicago movement this year. But look, Bears draft, traded one spot back, drafted, in my opinion, besides Paris Johnson, the next best tackle in the draft. This guy was in the SEC. We know facing up against the Will Andersons, the Jalen Carters and the rest of that Georgia front. And the Bears are finally solidifying their O-line, man. And so they do that. And then, Zoo, they decide to go pretty much all defensive the rest of the way, picking up every D tackle, D end that they could. Got a nice little cornerback out of the U. I believe his name was Tyreek Stevenson. Kind of like him. Was watching a little bit of highlights there. But I think the steal of the draft, a very quiet pick, Rashawn Johnson, man, the backup to Bijan Robinson at Texas. Bijan Robinson himself, they asked him about him, and he said, this guy's the second best running back in this draft class. He's like, if I wasn't there and I wasn't doing my thing, which we all know was an unbelievable season, this guy could easily have been a starting caliber running back on a Big 12 team, SEC team. He just kind of happened to be in the shadow, unfortunately. So wasn't the Bijan Robinson pick. That man got drafted early by the Falcons, and a hell of a draft pick by the Falcons. I like that risk. Got to go for the stud talent on a team that really has nothing to lose in a division that is pretty wide open. So not saying Desmond Ridder is going to lead them to a championship, but I did like, it was kind words out of Bijan Robinson to talk about, his fellow teammate and peer, probably one of his closest friends. So I'll give the Bears a nice little B+. Zoo, we're giving them an 89. They're trying to push to that A- on the draft. So I think that they just addressed the needs that they had to. Their positional players are pretty solidified at this point. Drafting a young running back can never hurt. See what he can do. But it was the offensive line and the defensive line that I cared about the most. And they finally made some right decisions, man. And we got great capital going down into the future. So I like that draft, man.
Wow, you took my pick, man. I'm talking about the Eagles, man. When I saw that, man, I'm like, okay, first of all, my philosophy about picks, man. When you're in win now mode, like the Rams say, F them picks, man. You try to win it all. You're trying to win it all. Obviously, last week we were talking about, I thought you should win running back to pair them up, but man. Carter, man. With the off-court issues, obviously the off-the-field issues was the reason why the dude fell. But if he didn't have that issue, man, he probably could have got a number one pick this year. He probably could have won based on talent, defensive side of the football. Yeah. They're trying to shore that up because right now they gave Jalen Hurts a massive contract right now. So right now they got to win now because obviously with cap space in the future, man, it's going to be a lot harder to retain your talent. So right now you got to pull all your chips in the middle and try to get win now players right now. So you trade a fourth round, move up, get your guy, man. He's man, Nolan Smith. Is there Georgia? Man, they're getting all the Georgia boys, man. They're getting all of it. I like it when you draft from these big college programs when you're playing against pros, especially the linebacker, these big board positions, man. Because you're playing against big guys that go NFL. You ain't in some random division playing guys that ain't going pro. You're playing against future NFL prospects in a division like Georgia, man. Jesus Christ. And they got those little comments, a couple of Micah Parsons. Are you serious? Are you serious? A poor man's
He's a beast, man.
Yeah, I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Like, obviously, guys coming off injury, and that was probably the biggest reason why he fell. Yep. But, man, I'm taking that as risk right now, man. I'm trusting my NFL people to take care of this dude, man. Make sure the dude's healthy, man. And we're ready to win now because I'm looking at that division right now, man. They're locking up again. Low-key right now, this Eagles team right now, it is very hard to maintain being a dominant team outside of the Kansas City Chiefs who make it look way too easy. But the Philadelphia Eagles right now, with the moves they're making right now, they're like, yo, pencil us in the playoffs. Guarantee this year again, man.
Yep.
Not in the wild card, guarantee top 2 seed right now because that's what they're going for. And right now, these win now like moves right now. They trade a fourth rounder to move up for a guy you like and taking these guys to win now, man. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man. This team's locked and loaded, man.
And we failed to mention, Zoo. They got D Swift too, man.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention, man.
It's not the draft.
But
Jesus, man. Detroit Lions, man. They must really love that running back.
Yeah, they took him early.
Their celebration looked like they won
his
the
comp
freaking
is
lottery,
Alvin,
man.
so that was his comp.
Yeah,
so, I mean, that's probably
why. They won the freaking lottery when they drafted this dude. Like, a running back that early? That is not Bijan? Jesus Christ, man. A pass-catching guy. I'm just like, man.
Healthier Swift. That's what they're going for. They're hoping he's a healthier version of DeAndre Swift, man.
Yeah, they're like, man, like coaching staff last year. Obviously, the dude had knick-knack injuries. They didn't use him that much, man. They just didn't have a good relationship with DeAndre Swift. The minute they drafted their RB of the future, man, they shipped him out immediately. They gave D-Mount a bag. So they're trying to put the committee, aka the Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara play style, man. That's what they're going to do to pair with Jared Goff. So that's what they're going for in their offensive play call. But yeah, they got DeAndre Swift for a late pick. Beautiful, man.
Like 5th rounder thing.
Typical NFL, man.
Yeah, I'm just like, my goodness, the Eagles. They put up a clinic. I'll give them an A+, man. I'll give him an A+. I saw like, damn, I got Carter. Jesus, and you saw the reaction, man. I don't know if you guys saw this. Michael Parsons saw the reaction, saw that pick, man. He's like, oh, he was raging, man. He was raging, man. Playing against that brother. Jesus Christ. So that's all I got, man. I'm very, very impressed with the Eagles, man. Last year, they were my sleeper team, but no one's sleeping on this team no more.
No.
That Super Bowl performance, because they were good enough to win it all. Now, obviously, Jalen Hurts became the highest paid quarterback for a second before Lamar Jackson took over for 1 minute. So at what moment he was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? But Jesus Christ, man, no one's sleeping on this team no more, man. Nobody's sleeping on this team. They're a household name now. No. So big time moves by the team trying to win it all.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Eagles, they just stack talent on top of talent. They also got Ringo, I think, in the 3rd round, which is, I think most of his concern was, is he a safety? Is he a corner? But when you're taking a guy who was kind of projected at the bottom of the 1st round, early 2nd round, I think you get him in the 3rd. You can, put him back there, see where he fits. He can take time to develop. And with him being with other Georgia guys, maybe he develops faster because he just has a familiarity with the guys on the team. So. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's pretty unbelievable what the Eagles are doing, and I really didn't think Carter's going to drop that far. For me,
and real quick, Sean, and they took that Tyler Steen kid out of Bama, that guard. They're the best offensive line as well, and they're only making it even better. I don't even know what to say, man. A team that is in the Super Bowl should not be doing this well in the damn draft. I'll put it that way. Their GM, their ownership, and their coaching is
Roseman
top tier the past couple of years, really since COVID.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And two, with Jalen in that contract, a lot of the guys they're probably the guys that were stars on that team last Super Bowl, they're probably like, oh well, they're not going to be able to sign those guys. But I mean, it doesn't matter because you're going to have all these guys on the rookie deals. You got Jordan Davis last year, so like just imagining Jordan Davis with Jalen Carter, and then you got Nolan Smith roaming around, And I think with Nolan Smith, like. His measurables were insane, but it wasn't like a leg. It was just a pectoral type injury. So I feel like if he could bounce back from that, which I think he will, if his legs are fine and he's able to still run around and fly around, like, good luck, NFC East. Like, Daniel Jones, salute. Dak Prescott, salute. And whoever's Washington quarterback, salute. But, man, it's gonna be tough sledding for you guys. So, but for me, I'm going to focus more so on the quarterback. I thought with the Anthony Richardson pick with the Colts, I thought it's immediately when I saw that, the first thing that came in my head was Jonathan Taylor. And if he can bounce back and be healthy, the duo of those two just rushing out of the backfield and having so many options. Like, I know Jonathan Taylor's not really the pass catching back, but just having maybe dump offs or like fakes, play action, whatever, that's going to be lethal. That's all going to be dependent on Jonathan Taylor being healthy. But I also like what they did with their receiver pick at Josh Downs. I was really high on him because I watched him a lot in ACC. Now he's like a 5'9" guy, but he's very sudden. And I feel like it's always important. I always say with the NFL draft and really any part of the NFL, you got to have receivers. So we know they have Michael Pittman. I know he's like the established number one. Alec Pierce is, hit or miss, but he's like a 3rd guy. But if Josh Downs can be that 2nd slot guy that can get open underneath and let Michael Pittman eat over top, I think that's really going to help Richardson a lot. So I just like the running aspect, and I'm pretty much sure the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, I think he came to become their head coach with the Colts. So if you look at Jalen Hurts' development, not saying that Anthony Richardson and Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts did have way more proven.
His college resume is way longer.
Yeah, it's way longer. Yeah. And he was under Lincoln Riley, and pretty much Lincoln Riley gets you to the league. Now, it doesn't, Lincoln Riley may not guarantee you to be super successful in the league, but he's going to get you to the league.
He'll get you a contract.
Yeah, he'll get you a contract. So for me, I thought that was really interesting. One other sleeper one I saw probably 30 minutes ago when I was overviewing my notes. It's a kid named Zach Evans. He went in the 6th round, running back. He averaged, coming out of college, 7 yards a carry at TCU and Ole Miss. He was one of the running backs in – I don't know you guys don't follow college recruiting, but he was like a top 5, top 10 guy about 6 foot, 210, like 4.5 or 4.4 speed. Really, really talented. The only reason why he dropped is because he had character concern. That's it. Like, that is the only reason why.
Per
Like,
usual.
I think if he didn't have those major red flags, I can't say they're minor, because if they were minor, he probably would have went in the third round. But they're probably major red flags, and that's why he dropped to the 6. But I think in terms of talent, he's not Bijan, but he's a step below. Like, he's really talented. You should go look up his highlights.
Just a step below. Wow.
Listen, he averaged at TCU, who was in the national championship game this year, and at Ole Miss, which he played for Ole Miss this year, but he was on the TCU. He signed with TCU out of high school. His highlights are nasty, and the thing about him is he's a bigger back and he looks like a longer stride, like a long strider, but he's a home run guy. You know, with his stats being 7 yards per carry, 7 yards a carry, he's got that home run ability. And the only reason why I bring that up is because, you know, there was that weird time with the Rams with Cam and who was it, Darrell Henderson, and I don't even know who the other back, Kyron Williams, all those like interchangeable backs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just all those interchangeable backs. Like, yeah, it's just like nobody was trying to take hold of that backfield. So for me, it's like if he come, you know, at running back, it doesn't really matter where you get drafted. If you're a stud running back, you're gonna show it early. So I think he has a chance, and also depending on Matt Stafford if he's effective and he comes back from his injury, but he has a chance to be, I think, a nice piece to, you know, maybe compete for that second spot and maybe come in and push Cam Akers, because I think Cam Akers is still there. I'm not sure if he is or not, but you know, if Cam Akers is still there, he's gonna be able to push him. So I thought that was a really good pick because I thought he got undrafted. I was like, dang, he went undrafted. And he was like, you know, for guys who follow college football, it's like, God, he was like 7 yards a carry in the SEC. Like, that's no small task. So it's like, how did he go undrafted? And it's like, oh wait, the Rams got him. So it's like maybe that's a diamond in the rough. But yeah, the Colts are probably, I would say, I give them B. The one pick I'm invested in, Darius Rush. He's from South Carolina. He dominated the Senior Bowl. 6'2", 195 pounds. He ran a 4.35. I think he's a good potential pick. He got him in the 5th round. Some of them thought he would go 3rd or 4th. So I think that's a pick that might help them because you're going to always need corners. But there's not really anybody else that I was super blown away by. Oh, wait. Take that back. Last one, Steelers. Darnell Washington, if you guys ever watched him for Georgia, he's like 6'7", 270 pounds. He's like basically an offensive tackle, but he runs like a 4.6, 4.5. Like Bowers was the guy for Georgia who was like the flex tight end, who's more of the 6'3", 230, who was the fast guy. He can run up and down, catch over the middle. He's like
Kelsey,
a little shorter Kelsey guy. Yeah, but because Kelsey doesn't block. But Darnell was like their inline tight end, but he was also super athletic. And I think, like a Kittle, like he's gonna get in there and block, and he can move around like the all around tight end. And one thing with the Steelers, I like they did that. Most people always talk about the tight end as a quarterback's best friend. So like when you get a guy who's a big target in the middle of the field and he can move around, that's going to help Kenny Pickett a lot. And then they got a left tackle. So to me, it's like, okay,
running
now
the ball, Najee.
Yeah. They might bring Najee back to life. It might actually bring him back to life. It might do that.
So move too. They still who's a solid young
he
tight
had
end.
a really good season last year.
Yeah. No, that's a good shout out. I did not know he was 6'7" though. To be honest.
Yeah, you should. Darnell Washington is insane, and he was another high top 10 recruit. I mean, most of any Georgia guys getting drafted, they were 5 stars for the most part.
Of course.
Like, so, I mean, the pedigree's there.
Yeah,
it is. But I don't know if you guys had anybody else, but that's pretty much all I had for.
I did just also want to shout out real quick. I love the Texans' balls to trade up and go back to 2 and 3. You got your stud quarterback, and then you got arguably Jalen Carter's off the field issues aside, the second best, top 2 defender in Will Anderson, who's a monster edge. You're starting from scratch with that team, man. That's arguably the 2 positions you need the most. The other one might be a stud left tackle, right? So, quarterback, you got your stud edge rusher filling in for J.J. Watt, who's been gone for a couple of years now. This is the restarting of a new franchise. And look, man, they're probably going to have the number 1 pick next year, maybe number 2. Watch out for that Marvin Harrison Jr. pick going down and reuniting him with C.J. Stroud. You better watch out, boys. Yep.
That would be fireworks for Houston if they were.
Yes, it would.
For sure. Oh, my God. Like, I can't even imagine how hyped they would be after you're coming out of the DeAndre Hopkins era, and then you go straight into C.J. Stroud and Marvin Harrison Jr. Oof, yeah. Because Marvin Harrison legitimately could go top 5.
And in a division that for the next couple of years is a race to who's going to be the best. The Jaguars have the lead. We'll see. Zoo's very high on T-Law. We all know that. It's been a couple months since he's talked about him. I know he probably misses talking about him. But that division, along with the NFC South, all those teams, all 8 teams are just gunning for it at this point because they've kind of had a legacy. The Colts held it for years, right? And in the AFC South, and the Saints and Bucks kind of held it for years in the NFC South. So I'm interested to see what the Texans are able to do in the next couple of years.
AFC South, if all the quarterbacks hit, you're talking about Levis, Richardson, Stroud, and Law. Like, that might be the best quarterback division in like 3 or 4 years. It could be. Now, that all depends on if Levis and Richardson hits, but still, like, that could be a tough quarterback division. So, yeah. We are very, very psyched about that. And just watching the draft, in full disclosure, the only thing I was thinking about is fantasy, or just like,
of course,
going to take. So I cannot wait for fantasy this year, especially at running back, dude. There's so much movement. I cannot wait to see how fantasy is going to shape out this year. So you guys tune into NFL Talk. We will still be talking about that from time to time, but transitioning, it is the NBA playoffs. Like I said, it always feels like a month in between podcasts.
Yeah, so much
it feels like so much crap goes on. It's insane. We are now in the second round of the playoffs, and there's a couple games getting started tonight. There's a game on right now, but kind of want to ask the guys their thoughts on, what they have seen from the playoffs so far. And I guess, like, Zoo, maybe we could start with last night. Your boy, James Harden. I don't know. What'd you think about him last night going off for 45?
Not gonna lie, man. When I saw that, I was like, "What is going on, man? Are we in a time machine? We take a time machine? Is this Houston?"
Yeah, I know.
They were playing Houston Harden ISO like style. You got his boy. Like, I see his favorite picker pop partner, PJ Tucker. He back again, man. Running the same exact. You got the George Niangs of the world. Like it's exactly Harden Murray ball, man. That's what they had to do. Obviously, Joel Embiid, congrats to him. The MVP was out. So pretty much they had to pivot their entire offense. Like Harden said, missing 33 points, man. 33 points. Like, I don't want Harden being PG, Magic Johnson, passing the ball, man, driving not to score. He a lot of times during the year, he just drove to pass the ball. Like, it was like pass one, pass second, man. That was his mentality. But no. I need that. He was hitting his mid-range jump shots. He was actually hitting some layups for one. The brother has been struggling a lot in paint scoring this year. Like, I don't know, like his hamstring, I don't want to hear excuses about being injured. Like, it's been a long time since that hamstring injury back in the Brooklyn Nets. So I don't want to hear that no more. And he showed up, man. A virtuoso. That 3 on Horford. Woo!
Yeah.
Jesus. And they were down. It wasn't a tie game. He missed that, they lose. They won a game where right now, I know Joel Embiid is the MVP. But in the playoffs, they've been 2-0 without Joel Embiid. Obviously, the Brooklyn Nets, that's just an inferior team. That's just a borderline, I think it's a bad team. Like, they just got lucky because KD and Kyrie Irving got them so many wins that it was hard for them to drop out of the playoffs.
Rollover.
It's not a good team. So obviously, that first round was pretty much a first-round bye, first-round practice bye, get your players wet in the playoffs. So obviously that wins whatever. But against this Boston Celtics team, because Tatum had a good game.
On the road. Yeah.
On the road, TD Garden, like, it's a hostile environment, man. Like, it is really very hostile. People are saying playing in Boston, the playoffs, man, it's one of those experiences that people get shook playing in Boston because those fans are active, man. They'll be screaming at you. But James Harden, man, a 45-piece, man. I am super impressed, man. I always think about how they got him. They got rid of Ben Simmons, the worst contract in the NBA, for James Harden, who dropped a 45-point game in a high-leverage playoff situation. Because if you look at the Eastern Conference right now, this is your opportunity to get it done.
Yeah,
if you look at the Celtics, their two main competitors before the playoffs started, Milwaukee Bucks and the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously, Jimmy Jordan showed up and shut down Giannis Antetokounmpo, man. Brother averaged 36, 5, and 5. 36-5-5. Giannis turning the Shaq, missing every single free throw, playing hot potato in the fourth quarter. Grayson Allen shooting, not even taking a shot in the final hours.
It was a failure.
The Milwaukee Bucks. I know Giannis
Literally.
is frustrating as failure. No, that's a failure, man.
Yeah.
Failure is when you don't meet expectations. That is the definition of failure. You get all 29 teams didn't win a championship. Are they all failures? No. Some people's expectation is to develop players. Some expectations is to make the playoffs or make the play-in tournament. Some is to make it to the conference final. Your expectations was to win an NBA championship.
There you go.
So you had failed a 1-8 upset. That is embarrassing.
Play-in, too.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, play-in.
Dude, you lost to a team that lost their second best scorer in Tyler Hero, who broke his hand, obviously going for a loose ball, and he lost to one dude, Jimmy Butler. The coaching, horrific defense. Horrific, no adjustments, man. So you have the Milwaukee Bucks having an implosion over there. And you got the Philadelphia 76ers with their MVP injured again. I love Joel, but the brother's a Band-Aid. He is injured every single playoff series.
Yep.
Same thing happened last year where he broke his face. And
Yeah.
now this year with the knee. So Boston Celtics, you better make it to the finals. No excuses. I know Joe Mazzulla, man. This guy's a first-time rookie head coach, so he's obviously this ain't it, man. He's been assistant coach, man. Like, no, this is first-time opportunity. You better get it done because you got a blessing that Joel Embiid is injured right now. Because this is my pick to make it out of the Eastern Conference right now. And obviously with Embiid, obviously they're not going to get it all. Winning one game, okay, that's cute. That's cute. But you're not going to win the series without Embiid. But that performance by Harden, man, it was an all-timer. This is probably one of his top one or top two performances of all time in the playoffs. So
and he handled the post game well too.
Oh yeah, people were celebrating. He's like,
one game,
man. It's just
cute.
one game.
We don't want to be the cute story.
You got to win 4. One game is nothing. Absolutely nothing. Do you know who else beats team by one? The Orlando Magic have won a playoff game against the Toronto Raptors. That Kawhi Leonard team. They won one game. It's just one game. Yep. Anybody could win one game. Anybody. So Harden knows that mentality, and I like how he handled himself. Don't get too high from that unreal performance.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like they wiped them either. You know, it's not like they went in TD.
Yeah.
Also, just real quick, I know you're not a hockey guy, but man, Boston had a rough past 2 days.
I heard 3-1.
One of the greatest hockey teams of all time loses in Game 7 in overtime in the first round.
Like
man.
Warriors, man. That's what
sounds a little bit like the Bucks, in my opinion, man. But besides the point, tough game for the. And the thing is, the Celtics, they shot 59% from the field as a team. But the difference, man, was 3-point shooting. Good. The Sixers had 6 or 7 more threes made than the Celtics did. Both had pretty solid free throw line games. I think the Sixers actually didn't miss a free throw, and it's not like the Celtics were shooting 50%. Tatum had a good game. Jaylen Brown, 8 for 10 from the field. I mean, probably should be taking more shots. Should be taking more shots. Derek White, you know what it was, though, Zoo? I think the difference, man, it was the defensive adjustments weren't made because I'll actually shout out Doc Rivers here, Zoo, for one of the only times.
Yeah, give him a little credit. I was about to say, you got to give him some credit. Yeah.
Because he decided to run what worked in Houston when it was just Harden, right? And he made the call. We need to get PJ Tucker. I don't give a damn if you score 0 points. You're going to affect the game in every other capacity, whether it's motivating your teammates, setting screens, getting rebounds, passing the ball. He actually had a good movement game, in my opinion, moving the ball, keeping it moving, getting his players involved. And Tyrese Maxey can't shun that game either. He had, a little bit of inefficient, but 26, and every one of those points was necessary, obviously coming down to Harden's last shot. But yeah, man, if they get Embiid back and it does not disrupt what just happened in Game 1, I think the Sixers have a chance to win the series, man. And
I said it before the series, bro.
All right, Sean. All right. Yeah, even with Embiid out, he's like, they're sweeping them with just Harden, man.
No, I don't know about that.
But, I do still have the Celtics in 7. I think that they'll come back, and I think they'll bounce back. Like I said, none of them had bad games. Like, nobody had a horrible game. I think Derek White might have gone 1 for 5. They need more out of him, and they need more out of him, Smart, and Horford to really put them over the top. Brogdon had a really nice game off the bench, putting up 20. But, yeah, man, I mean, I'm definitely eyeing this series. I think, to both your points, the Celtics obviously need to go back to Philly because we're going to talk about another hostile environment to play. whether it's regular season or playoffs, is Philadelphia, man. You got to go back tied 1-1 in this series. And I think that the Celtics will do that. So I don't know, Zoo. I will say, man, the Miami Heat could be really scary. And it's weird to say because, to your point, man, they're missing their second best player. You could argue Bam maybe. But scoring-wise, when you need a bucket, Tyler Hero is the guy. And Zoo, I got to say it, man. You know who's been stepping up huge for this team?
I watched the game.
Yeah. It's a big bone himself, man. Kyle, he's shooting the heck out of the basketball.
He is.
He's shooting with confidence, man. When you see him rise up, man, he's shooting with confidence. And I got to give
the experience.
That last game when Jimmy Butler sprained his ankle.
Yep.
Obviously, they were using Jimmy as a decoy. The dude was camping in the corner. He couldn't move.
Yeah.
But I am shocked he stayed out there because he was doing nothing on the offensive end because he couldn't move. And who was dominating the basketball? Kyle Lowry, man. He was the primary ball handler, made good decisions, man. I got to give it to Kyle Lowry, man. He showed the heck up at him and Kevin Love, man.
With every penny.
The resurgence of the old dudes, man. The old chubby dudes, man. But I saw Kevin Love throw some Aaron Rodgers passes, man, to Jimmy Butler before Jimmy got injured. But that quarter happened like boom, boom, boom against the Knicks. I was just like, God damn, Kevin Love. And those are perfect outlet passes.
He's always been good at that. He got good with LeBron.
I still remember when he did the outlet to LeBron for the game winner on the Wizards, man. So Kevin Love is on point with that passing. So I got to shout Kevin. He also drained his threes too after he was on the bench. Eric Spoelstra had made an adjustment, put him in the starting lineup, man. And they've been extremely successful with Caleb in the starting lineup, added a little more shooting for Jimmy Butler. But I am extremely impressed with those guys because if you look at that roster, man, it's just not that good.
Max Strus.
Dude, shout out to Gabe Vincent.
Average.
He had a nice game.
Gabe Vincent. If Gabe Vincent wasn't on this Miami Heat team, man, they'd be playing Milwaukee still, man. Because that brother hit the three-pointer against the Milwaukee Bucks when they were down. And if he missed that, they lose that game, and who knows what happens in the future. Gabe Vincent hit one of the most clutch shots ever, man. Just pulled up three, no conscious, man. Shout out to Gabe Vincent, who's shooting. He shoots with confidence too, man.
He does.
Irrational confidence. Because in that
not Dylan Brooks level, but
he's
pressing it.
Yeah, this dude pulls up. He shot 7 shots in the first quarter, man. This dude just chucks the basketball, man. And Jimmy Butler trusts him.
Yeah.
Man, Eric Spoelstra trusts him.
Spoelstra, I think Spoelstra deserves a lot of credit. He's going to go down as maybe a top 10 coach ever. He might go down as a top 10 coach because
he's top 15 voted head coach.
Yeah, so, he's with the talent base that he has. The way that he's able to get the most out of those guys is truly amazing. Because we all know about Butler, but the rest of those guys, come on, that's coaching. And Pat Riley, but I want to give Spoelstra his credit for that.
And we're recording this right now. It's halftime. Jimmy Butler's not playing, and the Heat are up by 3 on the road, man.
That's incredible.
I mean, Caleb Martin, leading scorer is Caleb Martin out of. Don't get me. I might bet. I think he was out of Nevada, man. Him and his brother,
Nevada,
Caleb and Cody Martin, man, the twins out of Nevada, who had nice tournament performances a couple of years back, man. But I'm not saying the Heat are going to win the national championship, win the NBA Finals. Yeah. But I think that if they do move on past the Knicks, either one of those other 2 Eastern Conference teams will have problems with them. And I think that they could force 6 in a conference finals were they to beat the Knicks. And I have them winning in 6 against the Knicks. So it just depends if Jimmy can come back and be at his full strength.
Knicks are going to have to they're going to have to get this game tonight because
they can't lose 2 at home.
It's similar to Milwaukee with Miami in the first round. Even though Giannis was out, you just don't want a scenario where, you're only down 3-1. We got Giannis will come back. No, if you're the Knicks and you're down 2-0 to the Heat, I just don't see it. Especially, I think Julius Randle's not playing either, so maybe he's playing tonight. I'm not sure, but okay, well maybe he's going to need some games to get some rhythm. But a quick point on Boston, I think their problem is they can't close games. Yep. They couldn't close in that Atlanta series. They played around with Trae Young and his legend, shout out to Trae. It keeps growing. I know he's got a lot of flaws, but we got to start having a real different conversation about Trae because he steps up in big moments. I know he's a flawed player, but every player is not perfect. I think sometimes because I think too, I just hear a lot of when I saw the Trae's the most overrated player in the NBA. Stop. He has moments where he plays selfish, but he steps up in very big moments all the time in the playoffs. He just maybe needs to learn how to become more mature as a player, but he steps up and I would take him over a lot of guys in the playoffs. Because a lot of guys get a lot of pub and don't make the playoffs, which is another conversation. But I do think with Boston, they need to learn how to close games, bro. Because there is no way that Tatum almost has 40 and the play that you draw, and I don't know if it was drawn up because Marcus Smart does like to go rogue sometimes. But him just dribbling into like traffic and trying to force it to Tatum, like what is that? Like I don't know if that's coaching or if that's Smart just doing whatever the hell he wants. Because I know he's the guy that gives a lot of defensive energy. So like it's kind of like it kind of is similar to even though Marcus Smart is a better player. It's like Dylan Brooks. It's because he tries so hard on defense. We're gonna give him as many shots as he wants on the offensive end. Yeah. And I don't know if that was the play call, but you got to I think Tatum needs a little bit of that Butler energy of like, I know there was a quote of Butler talking about, no, like the play needs to go to me. Tatum needs to be like, yo, I don't care what the play is. Just give me the ball, somebody throw it in, and I'm going to make a play. Because even the play before that when I think Harden had hit a three or a runner or whatever, he like got the ball, spun around and got a foul call and knocked down the free throws and put him ahead. So like, I don't understand why that play call looked so miscompatible or just all over the place. I don't know. But they have a struggle closing games. So it's going to be interesting to see in game 2. I think they're going to probably blow out the 76ers because I don't see Harden doing that again. Now, he may have one of those games at home, but I don't see Harden actually doing that again. So, they're going to buy as much time with Embiid and maybe they get him back for game 4. But Boston needs to learn how to finish games because, like you said, dude, this Eastern Conference is wide open. And you don't want to be in a situation where you made the finals last year and now you're in a game 6 or 7 down 3-2 to the 76ers and you're on the brink of elimination in the conference semis. Like, you don't want that. Like, that's not the trajectory of what we see the Boston Celtics as. And I want to give a shout out to Paul Reed. Like, his double-double with the rebounds and those 2 clutch, those 4 free throws he hit. That takes a lot of confidence, man. And he's not Embiid, we know that. But come on, bro. Like him just coming in and being who he was. I think we're just seeing 4 P bushes. Hold on, there we go. 2 P bushes we just saw. I didn't even know you was frozen, bro.
I just exited out and got back in, so it might have kept my old one. I have no idea.
You good? You good? But I want to see Boston close, and I need to see them take this series more seriously. And honestly, I would love to see them win the next 4 because that would show the dominance they've been this entire season. But who knows what's going to happen with that? Right. But switching gears, going to the Nuggets, I'll make this quick.
Yeah.
They're punking the Suns. They just are.
Yeah.
Like, they've seemed tougher. The team seems way more confident. Now, I know it's the home, we protected home court, and it's the rush of everything. And 2-0, we get that because sometimes teams just protect home court well. And maybe it's altitude. Who knows? But this is one thing I just thought of. And I said it before the pod, like DeAndre Ayton do say like he doesn't rebound. He needs to rebound more. But can we stop using DeAndre Ayton as an excuse and put more blame on Durant and Booker? I don't care how many points they scored. I don't. Can they lock up? Can they do something else?
I can't.
Because this is what's happening.
Devin Booker has been D'ing up.
That's fine. We know he can score. We know he can D up, but he ain't D'ing up enough because Jamal Murray went off in the first game. Why didn't he guard Jamal Murray in the first game?
What?
What happened in the first game? Where was Jamal? Who was guarding Jamal Murray in that first game? Torrey Craig. I love Torrey Craig, but no.
Jamal Murray,
you gotta take the onus, bro.
Was slowing down Jamal Murray. He was hitting step back threes, man. Like legit, it was good.
I just don't. My point is, I don't want the excuse to be Ayton. With Durant and Booker, I do not want people to use Ayton as the excuse because that's what's being formed as a narrative. Ayton's going to get all the blame. And to me, because I'm a LeBron guy, people always like to say, hey, LeBron and his teammates, LeBron, if he loses, we just blame his teammates. Well, this is what's being formed with Durant and Booker right now. Because if they lose a series, which I think it could still be a series if they win game 3, but if they lose a series, I can see the narrative forming about how bad Ayton is. And that's not fair. Durant and Booker need to get it done.
I don't think Ayton's going to be the biggest scapegoat. It's going to be the bench.
You don't watch TV then.
No. It's the bench, man. Legit, that bench.
When they made the trade, what are we talking about? No. That was when we made the trade. There were people on this podcast, including myself, saying, "Hey, that is what you got to give up," and it didn't matter because we got Durant. That's what we all said because a lot of us. I mean, I was like, I think the Celtics a favorite.
But the weakness of the team is getting exposed right now. Like you got Monty Williams, who doesn't trust his bench at all. That he has.
Well,
to
you
have
wouldn't trust
KD
Campaign either, though.
44 minutes. KD played 44, and D-Book played 44 minutes every night.
Shout out to Campaign, but no.
Oh yeah, no. You know what Campaign is? Sit from my stage, man. Complete bum, man. Complete bum.
Listen, I'm with you.
Shot a three so bad, hit the side of the backboard, man. Jesus Christ! In the fourth quarter, he shot a three.
That would be a better fit on that team than Campaign.
Oh,
yeah, they should have went after somebody like that.
Yeah,
but
and Chris Paul obviously re-aggravating his injury.
But we knew that was coming.
It's just classic CP3, man. His body, like him and Joel Embiid, man. It's like every single.
All right, CP3's a lot older though. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, he's 2004 draft. Right.
He always got injured on the Clippers when he was younger. He got injured a lot on the Clippers.
He had some big shots for them when they were making their.
He really did.
He had some big shots, but the dude gets
Spurs.
injured
I remember that.
I swear to God, everywhere he goes, he gets injured. Against the Rockets, injury. Sure. Clippers, injury. Suns, now injury. Even this is not the first time he got injured on the Suns. Like back last year, he got injured. Every single year, this dude gets injured. His body is just cannot sustain these long playoff runs right now. And obviously, with him out, you have to have Campaign in the rotation right now.
Well, guess what? This may be unfair, but I need Book.
Those guys are rotation guys.
I need Book and Durant to. It may be unfair, but I need them to average 45. Then, sorry, I'm just not trying to give they're too talented. They're just too talented to be getting punked by the And this is no disrespect to Denver.
The Nuggets are legit,
they got dudes. They got dudes. I know. They got dudes, but that is and this is. I was having this argument with a friend in a friend group. This is why I always say there's levels and tiers to who are the true superstars. Because on one hand, you can't be a star like Devin Booker or a superstar like Durant and talk about the bench. We don't I think Steph and LeBron, we would not make that excuse for. We would be like, get it done.
Yeah, those Cavs thing, yes, we do.
But I'm saying there's just levels, there's tiers, and I just feel like a lot of what I've been seeing, and not saying you guys are saying it, but what a lot I've been seeing is Ayton's been getting a lot of blame, and we know his limitations. Like I said, I've never thought he was a defender.
I don't know.
He just doesn't rebound, which he should be doing.
No, that's what he should be doing. That shouldn't be a limitation because he's a better athlete than Jokic. He's as big.
He was never a defender, though. He's just never been a defender.
He's
rebounding with you, but he's just
he doesn't need a lockdown Jokic. Nobody can lock down Jokic.
No, I'm not saying that, but bother him.
But the defensive rebounding and being more on the glass, like offense, you should not be getting single-digit rebounds.
Yeah,
that should not happen. Especially
I'm with you on that. I'm not
especially in a game that's such low scoring. So that means more missed shots.
That's the difference.
You should be able to get double-digit rebounds every single game.
Mm-hmm.
We're not offensively, he takes his little mid-range and sometimes he gets his oops to the lane. He's a rim runner and he got a little mid-range game. But the rebounding, that is a valid thing. You look at
shout out to Aaron Gordon too. He's another
dude. That big
he's been nice.
Rebounds, man. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. I don't
like it.
I'm talking about right now. We're talking about Jokic though. This is what happens when your team is healthy. Yeah. Last 2 years, he has been robbed of playoff opportunities because he was playing with a bunch of bums, man. All his dudes were injured. But now this year, man, Porter's healthy. Jamal Murray's healthy. You got KCP sniping threes, man. He has some big threes.
Underrated pickup.
4 for 4, 3-and-D, 6'5" wing guy. Unbelievable pickup, man.
And Aaron Gordon doesn't have to be asked to be the second option. He doesn't have to be the second option.
He just runs around.
That was a disaster. Aaron Gordon as the 4th and 5th option offense, as the cutter, as the slasher, as the defender, rebounder. My God, this team is perfectly built. Everyone's good at a little specific skill set that others are not as good at. So
they're the number 1 seed. Yeah. KD said it.
I'm telling you, the fit is perfect. Yeah, I got to shout out to the guys off the bench. Man. Bruce Brown made some huge plays, man. He was D'ing up, pissing off Booker, man. He was
pissing off Booker.
I like that.
Not easy, not hard to do, I should say.
Man. Old man Jeff Green, surprised that brother's still in the league, man.
Still playing.
Still a rotation guy, man. And shout out to the Kansas rookie, man, Mr. Braun, man, having rotation minutes on a really good team. So this Denver Nuggets team, man, feeling real confident in getting it done this year with Jokic. This is what happens when you give an all-time player a squad. This is a squad right now. And I like your word, man. They punking a Phoenix Suns team.
I said that,
with an
they are
all-timer in Kevin Durant. This dude's an all-timer. And Devin Booker, who's probably the best two guard in the NBA right now. If you think about it. He is the best two guard in the NBA.
Yeah.
So that's what Jokic, because Jokic is like, I'm telling him right now.
Let's put Jimmy at the 2.
Jokic can finish all time as a top 5 center.
Well, yeah. I respected Jimmy. I forgot about Jimmy. That might be a conversation.
If Jimmy's a shooting guard, I might put Jimmy.
Yeah, because that's tough.
He plays more of the wing forward position.
He's more of a 3, a true 3.
He's more of a 3 now in his role on the team.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, man.
I put Devin's definition. He's like the prototypical 2 guard. So I'm putting D as the best 2 guard in the NBA. But what Jokic is doing is hella impressive, man.
I don't know. I'm just more irritated because it's like all this fuss, Durant getting out, and then now you're in Phoenix, and now people. It's just like, no, like at some point you just got to get something done. You can't. Well, we don't have depth. You had depth in freaking I keep saying New Jersey, but with the freaking Nets, you had 2 other All-Stars. You've had stuff going on. I'm sick of people just saying with him and Book, because people are saying, well, you don't have depth. Well, the Suns before they got Durant had a lot of depth.
They had depth
to get to the finals. So it's like you can't complain about that now that you don't have it.
So that goes back to the whole point. Is it always worth it to trade for the superstar if you've made
not in today's NBA?
If you've made the finals with the team that you have, I genuinely think the Suns were just desperate.
Book might have put pressure on him.
New ownership forced the trade. James Jones, this has been reported, did not want to include Mikal Bridges in a Kevin Durant trade.
There you go.
But then the ownership is like, this is Kevin Durant. Let's get it done. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime player.
But they got a new owner, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. And you know how the new owner likes to.
We saw that with the Timberwolves, man.
See Minnesota.
Timberwolves, man.
Perfect example.
Timberwolves. At least they got Kevin Durant. They got Rudy Gobert as their big splash man. So you can do a lot worse, giving up all the draft picks. So.
But man, this is where I say, because I always make this argument with Zoo. Zoo's always like, you gotta have the superstars, man.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if you want to win a championship, man, you need the Malcolm Brogdons, the Marcus Smarts, the Derek Whites. No, you can't. Then the Suns didn't find them.
I used to be with Zoo, but come on, people should sign them. I used to be with Zoo.
And having the two foundation players.
Sure, yes, of course, but you don't have to trade your house for it. That's my point. I mean, look, you could argue the Sixers pulled off a heist. Yeah, well, it's because they bought low on Harden and they sold low on Ben Simmons and saying, hey, look, he could. That was the last time that argument.
I told you when that dude had mental things about shooting, I'm like, I'm out on that dude. That dude's a zero asset to me.
But Zoo, then you could argue that their third best player was a guy that they drafted, right? Or what did they draft? Tyrese Maxey?
Yeah, man, they drafted Maxey.
They drafted Booker, they developed him, they drafted Ayton, they pay CP3, trade for him, whatever, KD, etc. I just think they extended themselves a little too much, and if anything, they probably should have. If they would have just kept Cam Johnson, man, this would be a completely different
type of swing that could shoot.
You're gonna include Cam Johnson in any deal.
I know you have to.
But the Nets were not gonna make a deal.
You have to, but if Durant's gonna keep going 10 for 27 from the field, man, I don't know what to tell you.
He got a little tired, man.
Yeah, because they have no bench.
Dude, it is crazy. When you're rocking these 44 minutes, man, I'm just like, wow.
The man's like 34, 35, if not.
Wow.
I used to be with Zoo, and I am to a point, but like you said, there's levels of superstars. Like Kevin Durant is like the upper echelon.
He's in tier one. He's in tier one.
I think in this league now, because the league, like we're saying, Paolo Banchero is on one of the worst teams the year before, and he's one of their best players, and he's a thoroughbred. Like, he could go. So the league is healthy with young players, and when you got players like Scoot Henderson and Wembanyama coming in, this league is going to continue to get great, and there's going to be greater depth in the league. So I do think maybe if you're in the business of trading for a superstar, maybe you're trying to get an A- or a B+ superstar, and to your point, get 2 of those main foundational pieces, which is B+, A- type stars, and then surround them with depth. Because I think the days of getting Brown and Tatum are a perfect example. They're also, I think they were both drafted with Boston, but they were grown up in the system, and their 2 wings, Boston just got lucky with that being, I wouldn't say lucky because they drafted them, but they got 2 foundational wings, which that doesn't happen all the time. But I will say, now with the depth of the league, you kind of got to get stars that are either ascending to that superstardom or that are superstars, but they're not like in that tier of LeBron, Steph, and KD or whatever. Because with that, teams, if you're going to ask for those teams to get those players, you're going to have to gut your entire team. And as we're seeing, like, it's just
you wait for free agency for those guys. You wait for free agency with those guys. That's what I think. That's what they used to do, and it worked.
Like literally fast, like going, to the next series with the Lakers and Warriors. Look how the Lakers, they had LeBron, Russ, and AD. LeBron, Russ, and AD are Pantheon greats. As much as people want to dog Russ, he's a Pantheon great.
Yeah, of course.
But if you look at it, when they got rid of him and got depth, and a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who people don't like, and he can be hot or cold, but he wasn't a number 2 pick, and he fits with Bron. So it's like you got a guy that can get hot and get streaky. You got Malik Beasley, who can drift. You got Rui, who was a top 10 type pick, but he's got the skill set. You got guys that built the depth. So now that you got the 2 stars, but you're able to. And then, like you say, with the Warriors, you got Steph, who's the main star. You got Clay. They were core guys. Draymond's a core guy, but they also had house money with Kuminga. Now Wiseman didn't work out, but they got Moses Moody. Like they got Gary Payton III. Like they got a little bit of depth. So it's like, and some of this is a conversation for like, well, maybe management is just better at different organizations. Who knows? But I will say, like, the teams, how it's being built, like I've always said, like once LeBron, Steph, and KD are out the league, I think that what P. Bush is talking about is going to be more of a main focus because you got to have depth, man. Go ahead, Zoo.
All those great teams that are championship contenders, you have the 2 foundational pieces. That's the thing. You got the superstar, either in the homegrown, most of them are homegrown superstars or you acquire via free agency, and then you got the complementary guy with your superstar. So what the Phoenix Suns did, man, I totally get it. You got the homegrown superstar in Devin Booker, you get Kevin Durant to go in, and then rest of the team, you figure that out. But right now, I'm good with that. If I'm the Suns ownership, I still do not regret that trade, even if they lose to the Denver Nuggets. They got the 2 foundational guys, and they'll build out role players. Exactly. Next year, free agency.
I don't think you bring back Chris Paul, though, so that may help a lot because he's a big chunk of that salary, too. So
$30 million. You got to spread out the money a lot more. But, man.
Yeah, now that you're saying that, Zoo, that might be – if they say they didn't have Paul and they just filled that out with other players, they might be a way better team.
Just think about it. That's 100%. $30 million, man. Yeah. If you pay each, like, role player $10 million, those are some nice role players. You get nice
3 foundational guys.
Like, you just got to be able to use the cap in a smart way. And so, like, if you look at the Lakers, as you said, man, Sean, man.
What is Chris? We can look after the pod, but I wonder what his contract is.
3 for 90. No, 3 years, $90 million.
So what year is he in?
Last year's not guaranteed. I think he's in year 2. I think maybe. Yeah.
CP3.
Right.
Last year's not guaranteed. Oh boy.
It's like partial. It's not fully guaranteed. So.
Oh
legit,
boy. Yeah.
He's 38, man. He's getting up there in age, man. So obviously they got the 2 foundational. So I'm all in, man. But speaking of the Lakers, man.
That's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Speaking of the Lakers, man, this time to get it done, man. You got AD looking like freaking the defensive player of the year. He made Jaren Jackson look like trash.
Yep.
He looked like trash in that last game.
That was a tough game.
That was
like brutal.
I was
well, the entire team, but
obviously Dylan Brooks is on his way to China right now, man. The general manager leaked the Shams Charania today.
He's going to the Bulls. What are you talking about?
Under no circumstances.
Defense, grind and grit. What are you talking about?
Under no circumstances is Dylan Brooks coming back to this team, man. That was leaked to the Shams today, man. Directly from the general manager of the Memphis Grizzlies. So obviously he out. Like I said, OG Anunoby would have been the perfect fit. They tried to get the 3-and-D wing, a.k.a. Mikal Bridges / OG Anunoby. They couldn't get a deal done. They knew Mr. Brooks was the wrong guy for the role. 3-and-D, nah, he ain't out there for 3. They were leaving him wide open. They were leaving him wide open, man. And you saw when they had shooting, when they had Luke Kennard out there. Yep. Oh, that offense was rolling, man. With Luke Kennard and Desmond Bain as snipers out there with Jaren Jackson, and even Tillman, they were giving the Lakers trouble, which is a championship contender. So like I said, man, they were one piece away. Obviously, Adams and Brandon Clark were out, so that's why I was completely out in the Grizzlies. You're losing 2 important rotation players. I was on them. But that wing position, they just got to address that wing position, man, and the Grizzlies are completely fine, man. But finding that wing position right now, that 3-and-D wing, that's what they need to look forward to. But the Lakers right now, man, they're ready to win it all, man.
Yeah.
Lakers are back, man. This reminds me of the bubble team, man. They're getting everything right. AD, man, being defensive player of the year caliber right now. Obviously, LeBron, he lost a step.
Yeah,
obviously.
In that game where they got blown out by the Grizzlies, man, he quit on the team, or he
takes games
I
off.
saw the dude just walking.
He always does that. Come on.
Dude, he was in the corner, man. He was just chilling. I see him trying to go
I think he was
burritos.
Jimmy.
Dude, he was chilling. He was load managing.
I knew anytime it's the game 4, I was like, because everybody, when I was watching the media, they were like, the Lakers are closing up the Grizzlies on the road. I was like, you guys must not have watched LeBron. Like, he has spurts where he is blatantly taking games off. Like, that's just how he does. And he has to do that because there's no way he can go. Now, in the finals, if he does get to the finals, he may go hard because that's like the end of the road. No, he's not doing back-to-backs, no. Yeah. And that's why I think Rob Pelinka, shout out to him, he put the team around or pushed it, or when I guess LeBron was still out, like he kind of like made the team, built it around AD and LeBron to where LeBron has the luxury. And some will say with Austin Reeves is how his, ascension has gone. Like the thing about this team is just they have like that's another thing. Like LeBron is never really on the ball as much now because you got Schroeder and you got Reeves and Russell to an extent. Even though I don't like him, I would like Russell more just a go type.
31 man,
go get buckets.
He had a good game.
That's what I want him in that type of role because he's just so good at that. He's streaky.
He's a very finesse player, man. The way he plays, every time I see him, like a little bump just bother. Like he's such a finesse player.
Yeah, he's very methodical. He's not super athletic, so everything with him is everything is very like deliberate with how he plays. And I think what helps him a lot, which people think this is crazy, but I think because he's left-handed, it still throws defenders off, so he's able to get that extra little step because he's left-handed. I feel like if he was right-handed, he would be an entirely different player.
I'm not saying he's Harden, but it's very similar.
Just
when Harden took
he's
the
like
next
a bootleg Harden, man.
He is a Walmart version.
He's a bootleg washed-up Harden. But he's a bootleg washed-up
That's
Harden, man. That's what he is.
You're right.
That's crazy.
Man.
But Harden in his heyday is super athletic. Go ahead, people.
I will say Warriors in 7, man. That's all I gotta say.
Wow. I gotta go against you, man. Yeah. I made a bet on the Los Angeles Lakers to win it.
Now we see why.
I am sold on the Lakers.
$5. I bet it's $5.
Was it $5? It was a $5 free bet.
There you go.
It was a $5 free bet after I lost my parlay. Yeah, I got $5 back. So
we both learned our lesson, man. You don't bet against Steph Curry. I might actually bet against LeBron this year. That's my point. This might be the only year.
All I gotta say, Klay Thompson, he lucky that Steph Curry bailed him out because he was god awful.
A lot of those guys on that team outside of Looney and Curry,
especially off game. Only guy I'm giving props is Kevon Looney, aka Dennis Rodman 2.0, and Steph Curry with probably the best playoff game of his career.
Yeah,
his ability, he has improved so much from his MVP year, which is crazy to say. Because he is physically a different dude. He is driving into people, bumping off them, give a little shoulder, and stepping back, taking jump shots, man. He did not have that physicality in his game when he was in that first championship run. Because those Currys, that Curry and 35-year-old Curry, this is prime Curry right now. That baby Curry that won it all, man, he lucky that those teams were injured because that was not prime Curry, man. This Curry right now is looking like an all-time player right now. Looking like the best point guard of all time right now. Because that's what he pulled off. Because his shooting, man, his physicality,
is he a point, though?
He plays more like a 2.
I mean, he's a point, but is he like Magic Johnson point? He's a combo guard to me.
He is a combo guard, but you know what I heard?
Because if you're gonna say he's the greatest point guard ever, that means he needs to Magic. What do we think about Magic? Not a scorer. He's the greatest passer of all time. Steph's not that, so that's why I feel like he's one of the greatest guards of all time. I don't think he's like a point. I mean, you could be semantics.
I think you could argue he's an overall better guard than Magic Johnson.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. You could say both sides of the game. Yeah, I think
it's what your team needs more.
Passing.
Like, they didn't need Magic to put up 30 a game.
Yeah, because they had Kareem. Yeah.
But they need Curry to put up.
I don't think he scored like Steph, though. I don't think he scored like Steph, though. Yeah, even if Curry wasn't there. I don't think he scored like Steph and Curry.
He's got that little hook shot, the ugliest jump shot of all time.
No disrespect the Magic, but I don't think he scored like
That's
Steph.
what I heard from Jalen Rose, man. Like, Steph Curry, you're right, Sean. He ain't a point guard. He ain't like a traditional 2-guard, man. He called him a vanguard, man. Something we haven't seen before, man. I like that. When I heard that, I'm like, I like that, man. That's what he is.
Damn.
He is a new hybrid guard because he just does things so differently, man. You don't imagine a guy that's so good at shooting off ball to have handles like a traditional point.
That's another underrated part of his game.
So I'm just like, What he pulled off
He's
against
got that thing on
Sacramento,
the
man,
string.
he straight up murdered them. He murdered them. Put his team on his back. And I don't know if you guys heard this story, but he was so pissed at Game 6 that he couldn't sleep that night. And him and Draymond were texting at 4 a.m. He went in when they were in practice. He called out all his teammates. He's like, if you guys don't want to get it done, like, you selfish, like, he's pretty much calling out people. I want to see people to show the fuck up, or you're not going to come to
Jordan
the game.
Poole.
Oh, Jordan Poole, man, taking some stupid ass shots, man. Getting a little selfish, man, taking some bad shots. He called out his teammates like, you guys, if you're not going to show up, don't show up to the game. And I'm putting this team on my back.
And Kevon Looney.
He put on 50. He shot 38 times. 38 times. So that's a mentality thing.
Yeah.
You don't put up 38 shots. So he went in that game saying, I'm going to take over. And he put on one of the most all-time moments I've ever seen in my entire life. So Steph Curry, man, I love this man. He's too good. He's just too good.
He's
probably
definitely top 2 to watch.
Yeah.
No, come on, man. The second round is the semis, whatever. But
When it gets good.
I think the league was very, very excited when they saw, we get the Warriors and Lakers in the second round. We got Celtics. We got Celtics and 76ers, and James Harden just happened to put up 45, so maybe this goes 6 games now. And, I think maybe we'll get some calls for the Suns and get 2-2. Let's go ahead and get it going. I think it's just all part of the script. I think it's just all a part of the script.
Scott Foster got sent to the Eastern Conference for this series.
Yes, for sure. The NBA, man, is, we talk about March Madness with college basketball. That's usually when most people only watch, but I know a lot of people like to dog the NBA about we don't watch, the regular season. It's fine, whatever. But the playoffs with these stars that are in the playoffs right now, it's all time. It's just all time. And it's nice to see just, a lot of your, players you grew up with, you're watching them now compete, and you're seeing the younger generation and stars try to, people that are in the playoffs now trying to establish their stardom. So we're going to be, primarily focused on the NBA now that the NFL draft is over. Make sure you guys lock into the YouTube, because I will be putting this up on the YouTube channel, primarily on the weekends at Quantro Knows. Bullheaded_pod. We have everything on Instagram, from stories, reels, carousel posts, the whole 9 with that. Audio medium, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you give us a 5-star review. And for me, Zoo, and P-Bush, we are